The rumors are true, guys. Mr. Sinister and Strife are both coming to Marvel Strike Force, and they're bringing a new tag with them. Plus, let's not forget about Hela and her summon Greg, who could potentially become the most annoying character in the game. If you want to see what the heck I'm talking about, you know what to do. Let's go smash it.
ValleyFlyin.
What is up, Valley Maniacs? ValleyFlyin here, I am back. Welcome to the channel. So yesterday we took a look at a few of the characters that are coming to Marvel Strike Force in this upcoming update. Ghost Rider, Elsa Bloodstone, and they're gonna form this supernatural team. So if you haven't checked out yesterday's video with my thoughts on that team, make sure you check that out, because today we are talking about the rest of the characters in this update. Mr. Sinister, Strife, and Hela, and we're also going to talk about all these supporting characters that are getting some changes that are coming to these, the changes that are coming to the game, and we're going to talk about some of these squads that you might want to be placing these characters in. Mr. Sinister and Strife also coinciding with reworks to Misc and Sabretooth to kind of form a mini Marauders team, and you might need to be switching out your Brotherhood. I'm going to talk about that. Also, Hela and her summon Greg. Now this summon Greg, he has the potential to be the most annoying character in the game. And when you see her kit and what this thing actually does, you may just agree with me. So we're gonna take a look at all of that stuff in just a bit. First, disclaimer time. This video is part of the Fox Next Envoy program, which means that Fox Next provides us with the info and gives us the footage that you're gonna see in just a bit. But all these opinions in this video are my own. Also want to mention that there is a sale coming up on TeePublic. So Whale Harder shirts, ValleyFlyin shirts, Valley Club shirts, they're all going to be on sale later this week. So make sure you check out the link down below so you can take advantage of that. Also, Patreon and BlueStacks, the links are down below if you want to support the channel as well. All right, the first character we're going to take a look at is Hela. Yes, Hela. She is a villain, cosmic mystic controller, Asgardian, and you guys could see what I'm seeing right there. Villain, mystic controller. So yeah, she's not even out yet. It could take months before she becomes farmable, but at that point, get out of there, Hand Assassin. We don't need you anymore for that Phoenix unlock. We're gonna use Hela. So hopefully she becomes farmable very, very soon, so we don't have to worry about Hand Assassin anymore. Let's go take a look at her skills though, because she has some very, very interesting skills. Black Blade, this is very, very good for a basic. Attacking primary target for 300% damage, flipping 1 death proof on target, and she does this later with her kit as well. So I'm going to talk about that, expand on that in just a little bit. And then you're going to attack the most injured enemy for 100% piercing, ignoring taunt. So this is good if you, for some reason, you don't have a dispeller and you run into that tank and you want to just kill that last enemy, but you can't get to him because of that taunt. This is where this basic is gonna come in, because you're gonna get that last enemy with that little extra move at the end. And this is what I'm thinking of. So raids is where I usually run into that problem. So maybe a raid character, I don't know. Maybe it looks like she's more of a war defense character when you see the rest of her kit. All right, this is her special. This is the Greg move. She's calling Greg for an assist here. This starts on a 3-turn cooldown, starts with 3 energy, so you can use this right on turn 1. You're going to attack the primary target for 350% damage. You're going to apply Disrupted for 2 turns, which is very, very important, especially if you have a tank that is, their turn is coming up. You don't want them to taunt, put this Disrupted on them. Very, very good. And then you're gaining an assist from the undead Asgardian. Greg is coming to assist on this move as well. So this looks like a very fun move, and you can see how the stats ramp up, or the skill ramps up right there. Death Knives is her ultimate, and this is a long wall of text, guys. Let's start with the first part. Clear 3 death proof from all enemies, gaining 5,000% extra focus for this action. So who am I looking at this? Why would you need extra focus? Colossus, Juggernaut. Those are the 2 that have death proof, that have all that extra focus. Groot puts death proof on people, and maybe if you're going up against Thanos, that may matter because of his taunt. Minerva does it, War Machine does it, but you're getting rid of the death proofs with this ultimate. Then what you're going to do, attacking all enemies for 350% damage, you're going to spread 4 negative effects from the primary target to all secondary targets, but this will not spread stun I like Carnage's basic, and this reminds me of Carnage's basic with that spreading of the debuffs. Now, this is important. Applying 2 regeneration to all non-summon Asgardian allies. So, as of right now in the game, Thor and Loki, there's no other non-summon Asgardian allies, but there's rumors of some other ones. So, hopefully, this full Asgardian team will be out, hopefully, the next update. I'm looking forward to playing around with this full Asgardian team. And that is it for the ultimate. And as you can see, starts on you can use this on turn 1, 5 turn cooldown, starts with 5 ability energy. Let's move on to her passive because this is a long one, guys. Goddess of Death on spawn, summon an undead Asgardian, aka Greg. On undead Asgardian's death, summon an undead Asgardian. So when Greg dies, Greg's coming back to life. And as you can see in this footage here, Greg dies, Greg comes back to life. Greg dies, Greg comes back to life. So that's what she's gonna do, guys. And now you can kind of see what I'm talking about, how Greg can be the most annoying character in this game. Ooh, good if he's on your team, but super annoying if he's on the enemy team, right? Let's keep letting it scroll down because you're also on turn, you're healing self for 5% of max health, plus 5% of max health per non-summon Asgardian ally. And she's getting some extra health there too, because she's healing herself, but she's gaining 15% max health and gaining 15% max health per non-summon Asgardian ally. So on a full Asgardian team, man, she is getting a lot of extra health, and she's healing for that extra health on every turn as well. Very, very strong. And then I talked about war defense. This is where it comes into play with her passive. On war defense, non-summon Asgardian allies that summon a undead Asgardian. So if Thor dies, Greg is coming. If Loki dies, Greg is coming. She's also gaining 25% damage, and Asgardian allies also gain that 25% damage. So with this one blurb in her passive right here, it's making me think that the Asgardians, they're going to be a war defense team. I think the devs are really trying to slow down all these fast full clears on war, and this is one counter. We're going to talk about another counter, and we already know about Coulson. So 3 potential defensive war teams that coming to the game. And here he is. It is Greg, the undead Asgardian, villain, cosmic, mystic, brawler, minion Asgardian. Those are his tags. His basic is heavy slash, attacking the primary target for 260% piercing damage and applying heal block. For summon, that's a pretty good basic there. That's actually better than some of the major characters' basics. All right, and his passive, attacking the primary target for 400% piercing and applying 2 bleeds for 2 turns. Then he's going to attack himself for 2,000% piercing damage. So he's killing himself. And as you know with Hela's basic, he's bringing somebody else back to life unless Hela is dead. This attack cannot miss, though it can be dodged. And this is obviously at max level. This is probably going to be tied to Hela's skills as well as how far they get leveled. And his passive on death, heal most injured non-summon Asgardian ally for 180% of this character's max health. So that special, not only is he going to deal a lot of damage, he's also healing, and then he's going to come back to life. So it's just like a big attack and a big heal. I like the mechanics of this. I like how this has played out. And last but not least, let's take a look at Hela's stats. Decent health, decent damage, actually 9,000 damage, not too shabby. And then we need to see her speed. It is 110, so she's not that slow of a character either. So Hela looking pretty good. Yeah, so Hela and the Asgardians looking to be very, very strong. We don't have a full Asgardian team yet, but Hela looks to be very, very strong and fun to play, especially with Greg always coming back to life. Let's take a look at the big boy right here, Mr. Sinister. He has the global, villain, mutant, marauder, and support tags for him. And we'll take a look at his basic psionic beam. What you're going to do, you're going to attack the primary target for 300% damage plus 50% damage per non-cloned Marauders ally. So this could be a very big damage move on its own, but you're also getting 2 potential assists. One from a random cloned ally, and there's a bunch of clone things in here, so we're going to talk about that when we get to the that portion of his kit. But you're also gaining an assist from a random Marauders allies. All right, let's take a look at his special gene therapy. Now, this is a 5-turn cooldown. You're starting with 2 ability energy, but because of his passive, you could use this right on turn 1. You're gonna clear heal block from the 2 most injured allies, gaining offense up for 2 turns. Then you're going to transfer all positive effects from an ally Mystique to this character, and then you're going to spread all of those positive effects, so those offense ups and everything, you're going to spread those to all mutant or cloned allies, and you just remove the heal blocks. Now you're going to heal. You're going to heal all allies for 2,000% health, plus 20% of this character's max health, and you're going to also heal clone allies for 1,500 health and 10% of this character's max health. So this thing is doing a lot of, this special is doing a lot of things, guys. It reminds me of like a better version of Nick Fury's special, where he's spreading all these positive effects and healing a little. I like this move, and I like this move as well, Clone. Now this move also starts on a 6-turn cooldown. You start with 3 ability energy, but again, because of his passive, this is available right on turn 1. You're gonna summon a clone of the primary target. This clone scales with Mr. Sinister stats instead of the primary target, and this clone is gonna get defense up for 2 turns. So this is a strong move, guys. You could start off with a 6-on-5 scenario, possibly, depending on the opponents, but very, very possible. And you're getting some buffs for war defense. Remember, I talked about that a little earlier, guys. This is where this is going to come into play. On war defense, generate 2 ability energy for all Marauders and cloned allies. So this is a good move. You're starting off with an extra character. You're getting that character defense up, and if you're on war on defense, you're getting some extra ability energy as well. All right, and it's time for his passive. Now, we talked about his special and his ultimate being available on turn 1 because of his passive. This is why. On spawn, generate 3 ability energy for this character if non-cloned. So yeah, you can't just go clone another Mr. Sinister and have him do all this stuff again. So what you're also doing is healing on turn. Every turn that he takes, he's healing for 15% of his max health plus 5% of his max health per Marauders ally, and you're applying regeneration to the most injured mutant allies. So yeah, he's gonna be healing, and his stats are gonna matter, not only for his heal, but the regenerations that he applies to the enemies. What else are you doing? Well, he's not just healing himself, guys. On Marauder allies' turn, if this character's health is greater than 50%, redistribute 10% from this character to that ally. So he's so generous, giving out 10% of his health every turn if he has a lot of it. He's also gaining extra focus. Marauder allies gain extra focus. He's gaining extra max health, and Marauder allies are also gaining extra max health. And more war defense, guys. Marauder allies gain 30% extra max health on war defense. Man, this guy is gonna be a beast on war defense, especially if he's cloning like your best characters that you're using. Ooh. All right, let's take a look at his stats there, guys. You see his health, you see his damage. Big health pool, very disappointing damage though, but it kind of makes sense for his character. And more importantly, we see his speed. It is at 100, which is not fast, it's not slow, it's kind of right at that average point. If I see someone with 100 speed, I know they're just average. So Mr. Sinister has average speed, but his kit, it looks so fun. It looks so powerful. I definitely want to try this guy, and I hope that his unlock method is not too crazy. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, guys. How do you think Mr. Sinister will be unlocked? All right, we're taking a look at Strife here, guys. You can see his tags as well. Villain, Global, Mutant, Protector, and Marauder. He's getting that tag as well, even though when I looked up on Wikipedia, he was never in the Marauders, but from a gameplay perspective, it does make sense. You need a team for this character. His basic is Psychic Strike, attacking primary target for 300% damage. If the target has taunt, gain +1 taunt up to a maximum of 3, so he can have multiple stacks of taunt from this one basic move, and you're clearing taunt from that target, which I think is important. If Mr. Sinister is an ally, transfer all positive effects from the primary target to Mr. Sinister. So let's say you go up against a Luke Cage and he has the resistance, or he has the focus that could get through Luke Cage's resistance. He's gonna take that taunt off. He's gonna take that taunt for himself, and all the death proofs, all the regenerations, and everything that Luke Cage has, it's gonna go to Mr. Sinister. So strong basic move, especially in the Mr. Sinister team. I don't know how valuable he's gonna be outside of this team, but in this Mr. Sinister team, he is gonna be very strong. He's very good synergy. Probably wanna use him on a full Marauders team as well. This is his special superiority, gaining another taunt. So you can gain a taunt with his basic, you can gain a taunt with his special. So he is the tank of the group. You're gaining up to a maximum of 3. You're gaining deflects with this move as well, and a barrier for self for 15% of this character's max health. He is going to be hard to kill, guys. And you're generating 2 ability energy for 2 random Marauders allies. So gaining taunt, generating ability energy, reminds me of like a mini Captain America move right there. And then his big move, his ultimate nullifying blast, apply ability block to primary target and adjacent targets, and attacking the primary and adjacent targets for 420% damage, excuse me. Not that bad for a tank. 5 turn cooldown, and you start with 3 ability energies, so not a turn 1 move. All right, and this is his passive. On spawn, fill 10% of speed bar, 10% speed bar per mutant villain ally. So yeah, this is very interesting because this means that you could taunt very early on in a match and he still has that slow speed to make that taunt last. Turn 1 though, he's gonna be able to taunt very, very quickly. So I like this. I see what they were going for with that, and I like what they did. You want your tank slow, but you want him going early, and this is kind of what it does. Almost kind of like Drax's pre-taunt, but not really. On turn, if taunting, gain +1 deflect up to a maximum of 3. More synergy with Mr. Sinister. If Mr. Sinister drops below 50% max health, gaining +1 taunt to a maximum of 3. Gaining barrier for 15% of this character's max health. Man, he is like a better version of sealed security, but just for Mr. Sinister. This is like a Mr. Sinister's pure protector here. And oh, more war defense synergy on war defense. He's gaining extra resistance. Mutant allies are gaining extra resistance. He's gaining extra focus, and villain are gaining extra focus. So you probably want to use him in a mutant villain team just to make use of both of these, but it gives a little bit of room for wiggle. It gives a little bit of wiggle room if you want to use other characters on this team as well and still get some of those bonuses. He has an okay health pool, 94,000 health at the stats that you saw on the screen. His damage is okay, 8,000, and his speed for a tank, very, very slow. 88, and that is slow, and that is a good thing because you want that taunt lasting. And I do like the way his passive was worded so that he has a lot of speed on that first turn, but the subsequent turns are very, very slow. All right, and let's take a look at some changes to Mystique. She's getting that Marauders tag. She's also getting a little extra damage on her basic, but the first change to her kit comes in her special. If Mr. Sinister is an ally, flip 2 positive effects to a negative effects on each target on her special. So she's doing a multiple hit attack with this one, and you're flipping positive effects to negative effects. That could be very, very huge, especially against the Kingpin like I saw in the footage. And then we take a look at her passive. Most of it is the same. You are getting a little extra synergy with Mr. Sinister, but on war defense, if Mr. Sinister is an ally, assist on all non-attack abilities. So she's gonna be a little bit of a beast on war defense. All right, last but not least, it is Sabretooth. He's getting that Marauders tag. He's getting a little extra synergy with Mr. Sinister on his ultimate, not just Magneto, but his big change came in his passive. All the stuff up top here is exactly the same. All the stuff is what got added. So what is he doing? He's gaining 25% chance to assist on non-attack abilities and gaining a 25% chance to assist on non-attack abilities per Marauders ally. So on a full Marauders team, he's attacking on every single non-attack ability. Same with Mystique. So it's kind of like a better version of Punisher where you're getting Mystique and Sabretooth attacking a target on a non-attack ability. So good stuff. All right, so now let me give my thoughts on these characters. Very different than yesterday's video because the Supernatural was presented as a full team. These are presented as more characters that are pieces of teams that either more characters are coming later or we're gonna have to fill these pieces with other characters from other teams. So what I'm thinking I'm gonna do with my Brotherhood, I'm gonna need to eventually move Sabretooth and Mystique out of there once I get Mr. Sinister and Strife built up. So who I'm gonna move in there is probably Carnage and Venom because I'm gonna have to split up the team they're on to make that Supernatural team. So we're gonna have a Marauders team, a Brotherhood team, and then a Supernatural team, all from the 2 teams that I am splitting up for them. So let me know what you're gonna do with these characters once you eventually get them built up. It might take a while, but just save squads are gonna be changing up once these characters come to the game, and you could build them to a viable level that you could actually use them in the game. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, subscribe to the channel, share this with all your friends, Smash on that like button and hit that bell, guys. Join that notification squad. I will see you guys next time. Q&A video is coming up later today, and make sure you guys check out that sale at TeePublic. Hulkfest bump, ValleyFlyin out.